Blog Talk Radio.
Everybody, it's your girl Cy Brown, and welcome to the Cy Brown Morning Show. I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Yeah, I hope you're having a wonderful day today. I got my butt kicked this morning at the gym by my trainer. I don't know what I'm thinking, going to the gym so early and then logging on and hosting this show every day. Sometimes I think I can leap over buildings with a single bound, right? Is that how it was? You can leap over tall buildings with a single bound? Well, you know what? I don't care as long as I think I can do it, and as long as I can try to do it, I will get up and do it at every possible opportunity. So I just want to share with you, I'm feeling good, I'm feeling great, and God has given us another opportunity to get this thing called life right. And on that note, I am super excited because the show airs live at 7 a.m. And for the last couple of months, it's dark outside when I do this show. So I am jumping out of my skin to see the sun rising as I do the show. And I know sooner rather than later, the sun will be out when I host the show. So yay, sun. And I am a light girl. I love the light. I love spring. I love everything that spring is about. I'm an April baby. So I am just enjoying this wonderful weather as spring starts to spring upon us. Boom, boom, no pun intended. I have some great tips today to share with you. Although spring is almost here, it's not quite here. And you all know that I pull these shows out of my brain based on the life that I live and based on paying attention to the lives of people around me. And this past weekend, I was traveling. I was in Raleigh, so big shout-out to everybody in Raleigh who welcomed me with open arms. And I was traveling, and I was leaving out my last day there, and I had to, pack my bags and things and took my shower, put some lotion on my feet, and, got ready to fly back to New York. Well, I went through the security gate, and because it was not really cold in Raleigh, I wear, if y'all see me in the street, I have on gym clothes, pretty much yoga clothes everywhere I go, and I did not have on socks, and I looked down, and I said, oh, my God, my feet are ashy. Now, thankfully, with the hustle and bustle of the airport, people weren't really paying attention to Saideh's feet. But I noticed, and I was like, well, wait a minute. I lotioned before I left. So it dawned on me, self, why don't you do a show about how to maintain your skin during the winter? So I did. I reached into my bag of tricks and just tried to recall things that have been shared with me through my esthetician who does my facials, how to keep your skin nice and soft and supple through the winter. So on that note, I just have some fun tips, some quick tips to share with you on how you can avoid ashy feet in the airport. So my first tip is get a facial. I strongly encourage everybody, men and women, to get a facial. Doesn't matter if you have a beard. A lot of my listeners are guys. Obviously, my husband's a guy. But I encourage everybody to get a facial. It is a small luxury. And I know people that get a facial every month. I get one every couple of months. I don't do it all the time. I would like to, but for some reason I can just never get in there. But I strongly encourage everyone to get a facial as often and frequently as they can, because a esthetician, the person that does the facials, can assess your skin and really give you good guidance as to how to properly care for your particular type of skin. I know when you go into a Dwayne Reed, we have Dwayne Reeds here in New York, but a Dwayne Reed or a Walgreens or a Rite Aid, there's so many products for your face, gentle skin, oily skin, your T-zone, partially oil, and all. Like, they can really assess your skin and give you the best products to really help your skin stay nice and soft. So I strongly encourage to get a facial. And just so quick sidebar, most places, if you're new, you can get a facial for $50. I know, here in where I live, it's a little pricier. In New York, everything is just marked up by 25%. But, you can probably get a facial, a really good one, a decent one, for under $75. So it's a nice little luxury, and you will love it. And just the last piece about facial, because I have so many other things to share, is that I ended up having skin where I needed a chemical peel, and all it was a series of 6 sessions where they just kind of took off the top layer of my skin, and you don't realize how much junk is under your face per se, because it's exposed no matter what the weather is, whereas your arms, your legs, your feet are pretty protected. So please get a facial if you can. Tip number 2 is to stay hydrated. It is so incredibly important to keep your body wet. I don't know if that makes sense, but, to hydrate yourself from the inside out, eating foods high in water content, drinking plenty of water, watermelon, cantaloupe, apples, oranges, watery vegetables like celery and tomatoes and cucumbers. Make sure you're getting vitamin C. Keep your skin nice and soft. And, you may want to consider an omega-3 supplement or consume more fatty fish and flaxseed to give your skin the building blocks it needs to look a little bit more moist and dewy. That's a good way to describe it, to look dewy. It's very important to stay hydrated. On that note, step number 3, avoid sugar and caffeine. I have an addiction, and it is caffeine. This probably is going to sound very vulgar, but if I can wake up in the morning and start a caffeine drip, I would be oh so happy. Before the Keurig, I had a coffee pot. Big shout out to my cousin Jasmine, who put me onto this many years ago, that it had a timer. So as soon as my alarm clock went off, the coffee would begin, and I would use the restroom and walk right into the kitchen, of course, wash my hands, and get my coffee. And what's so funny? As I'm getting older, I can't even finish a cup of coffee in the morning. And that's what really is so telling, that I just want the smell. I want the warmth of the mug in my hand. It's not even really for the coffee per se. I drink a couple of sips, and I'm so happy. But tip number 2 is to stay hydrated. Tip number 3 is to avoid sugar and caffeine. It will dry your skin out. Sugar, I am a big avoid white sugar. It is just not good for your skin. It ages you. It's the number 1 ingredient that I think you should get rid of. Processed sugar, just sugar, period. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. But sugar and caffeine will both dry you out. So, that kind of plays on tip number 2, which is to stay hydrated. And then to do that, avoid things that dehydrate you, which is tip number 3, avoid sugar and caffeine. Tip number 4, exfoliate your dead skin cells. I believe this kind of goes back to the facial thing, but if you can go to a salon or spa or even get a facial scrub or a body scrub from the grocery store, or like a Walmart or something, or actually my website, Fit Girl Fabulous. We have products online. Your body has these dead skin cells that if they are not exfoliated, it gets compacted and it makes your skin ashy, hard, and dry. So the more you exfoliate, you are getting rid of that top layer of skin that's pretty much dead anyway, and it's allowing your skin to rejuvenate itself. So I strongly encourage, tip number 4 is to exfoliate to get rid of the dead skin cells. Tip number 5, get a good cleanser. Get a good cleanser for your face, and then get a good cleanser for your body. I am not a fan of soap. I use it just because it's soap, but I use different soaps. Go to Whole Foods, go to places that maybe have those organic, maybe an oatmeal soap that has oils actually in the soap. Try to stay away from these over-the-counter soaps. I've heard, they're expensive. Yeah, you know what, maybe they are, but then offset it by not doing something else that is not really good for you, and the money will magically appear. I swear to you, it sounds crazy, but it does. When you start to really be mindful of what you eat and what you use for your body and what you use in your body and what you ingest, the money will appear because you are now redirecting money from the things that you probably should not have and are not very healthy for you. So get a good cleanser. Tip number 5 is get a good cleanser for your face, get a good cleanser for your body. Tip number 6, use a toner if you can for your face. I use a toner. I use Vera Moore's ginger toner, and I absolutely love it. I clean my face. I use Vera Moore products. I clean my face, and then I spritz it with this amazing ginger toner that adds moisture and kind of, I'm like touching my face as I'm talking. This is so crazy. I'm such an animated person, and nobody's here with me right now, so I feel like so goofy, just like fornicating with my face right now. But I use that ginger toner, and it smells good and it feels good. And then that takes me to the next tip, which is stay moisturized. I place my toner, and then I put the moisturizer right on top. So the moisturizer mixed with the toner just makes my skin look so soft. So I strongly, strongly encourage using a moisturizer. That's for my face. But I also encourage using a good moisturizer for your body. If you're black, like I'm black, and we were raised, our grandmamas put a big old slather of Vaseline on our face. Do not do that. Please do not do that. Do not do the baby oil. I use baby oil on my face, my body, my hair. And as I've gotten older, I realize I can't just be putting baby oil and all that stuff on my face. And I will say this too, I used to do the same thing to my children, take a big golf ball size of Vaseline and lather up my children. There are other things that we can use to really keep our skin moist. And I have to find some new products myself, so if anybody out there has some good products that they can suggest, because I was pretty embarrassed that I lotioned my feet before I left, and then when I got to the airport, my feet were a little ashy, so that was a little bit embarrassing. The next tip: get plenty of sleep. It is so important to rest. I am one person that goes and 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 goes, and that's not good. Your body needs time to rejuvenate. Your body needs time to decompress. Your body just needs time to just stop being your body. And when you sleep, your body has an opportunity to absolutely do nothing. And that is really the time that your body fixes itself. That's the time that your body, just gets better. So I strongly encourage you to get plenty of sleep. The next tip is to wear sunscreen. I never used sunscreen until I got sunburned. Y'all know I am a nice chocolate little girl. And I remember this was in the summer, my skin started to peel. And I'm like, wait a minute, I didn't know that black people could get sunburned. Yes, black people can get sunburned. But what happens is we may not even think that we can get sunburned or there can be sun damage to our skin in the winter, and it absolutely can. So I strongly encourage you to wear sunscreen. That was tip number 9. The last piece, really quick about the sunscreen. There are so many different variants and variations of sunscreen. You want to get a sunscreen that protects you from UVA and UVB rays. Sunscreens with a zinc oxide are especially effective in repelling the rays before they enter into your skin. So whether it's summer, winter, but once you find a good place to get your facials and you meet a really good esthetician, they will recommend a good sunscreen for your body. So that is tip number 9. And tip number 10 is to eat well. Y'all, eat better. Eat as best as you can based on your budget. Your skin reflects what's in your body. I know for me, there are times when I am hormonal and my skin will break out, and it has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm eating, if I'm drinking wine or not. It just is what it is. So to counter that, I have to eat as best as I can for as long as I can. So when hormonal changes do take place in my body, the damage, and I put damage in quotes, is not as extreme and it's not as severe. I encourage you, a lot of vegetables, stay hydrated, a lot of water. Please try to stay away from red meat. I don't eat red meat. I'm not a vegan or a vegetarian, but I just know that it takes a very long time for foods like that to digest in my body. I'm definitely a chicken and fish gal. I just started eating chickpea Mediterranean veggie burgers, and they are so good with hot sauce. I know it sounds crazy, and no, I do not put hot sauce on everything, but I would strongly encourage you just to eat better. Eat better. And it's not that you're spending new money. Just redirect the dollars that you are already spending. I went to the grocery store this past weekend. Before I left, I told you I was in North Carolina this past weekend, and my son was here with some friends. His girlfriend was here and a whole bunch of other people. And I went to the grocery store before I left, just as any good mom would do. And I bought potato chips. I bought ice cream. I bought burger patties. I bought lunch meat. I bought all these things that teenagers, those in their early 20s would eat. I hate to say it, but I spent over $40. Over $40 on junk. I bought frozen pizzas. Now, granted, I was getting it for, kids are hanging out watching movies. But do you know how much healthy food I could have purchased for that money? Now, that's just me being mom. But what I'm saying is it's about the redirection of the dollars that you're already spending. So just eat well for as long as you can, as best you can for as long as you can. So there. And that's where I put the period. So let me just go over these tips really, really quickly so you do not get caught out there like I did when you're taking your shoes off at security and it looks like you were walking through baby powder. Number 1, get a facial. Tip number 2, stay hydrated. Tip number 3, avoid sugar and caffeine. Tip number 4, get a good cleanser. Tip number 5, exfoliate all those dead cells off your body. Tip number 6, use toner. Tip number 7, stay motivated. Stay moisturized. I'm thinking of motivation here. Stay moisturized. Tip number 8, get plenty of sleep. Tip number 9, wear sunscreen. And tip number 10, eat well. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for hanging out. Listen, you all know June 26th, we celebrate 7 years. The Cy Brown Morning Show has been on for 7 years. So if you've missed any of our shows, and there are hundreds of them, feel free to go to iTunes. You'll see all of our shows on iTunes. And now I just started trying to archive some of our shows on SoundCloud so people can download the app and have access to our past shows. My all-time favorite show before I get off the air is just the show that I did with Tina Marie before she passed away, where she actually sang and prayed on my show and talked about her relationship with Rick James, and that was like a pivotal moment in my life, in my career. Just having Tina Marie talk with me intimately. So these shows are very special to me. It's not something that I take lightly. And I just really thank you for sharing, some time in your day with me. I really appreciate it. And I want to make sure that I'm sharing relevant and real information so that way it can help you make meaningful changes in your life. So now, as I fight back the tears and the violins begin to play, I hope you guys all have a great, great day. Remember that we shall pass through this world but once. Any good, therefore, that we can do or any kindness that we can show to any human being, let us do it now. Let us not defer or neglect it, for we shall not pass this way again. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you soon.